Hi everyone, my name's Michelle and I'm Mama Loves UGB here on FlossTube but also on Instagram, and this is the 14th of February. It is St Valentine's Day, so welcome along to the Sunday morning briefing. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm hoping that none of you are up and out of bed, that you've all been served breakfast in bed with a side order of stitching and that you are still there. But to all of those of you who do celebrate, then happy St Valentine's Day. You can see I have a little glass of something. It is actually a flavoured cider. I don't know whether they call it reorderling, something like that. And this is rhubarb, lemon and mint, and this is my celebration of my 6,000 subscribers, and I'm going to be doing a really exciting giveaway later on in this episode. So I love it when other stitchers tell me what the weather's been like where they are. I was watching Colette Kingsley, who is the highway stitcher, and she tells you the low and the high of the temperatures, and I absolutely love it. So from where we are in Cardigan in West Wales, we have had a low of brass monkeys and a high of still frickin' freezing. It has been bitterly cold this week, really cold, and the wind chill has been phenomenal. So we've been well into minus figures just with the wind chill, and we had lots and lots of ice last night, and the first thing we heard this morning was our friend in his Land Rover basically driving into the hedge outside our house because he hit a patch of black ice. Not going quickly or anything, but he did manage to rip his bumper off his Land Rover, which for an old Land Rover is some good going. So yeah, we've had a very cold week, so I've been very pleased to be inside by the fire for the most part of it. I'm just going to have a little. That is really nice. So yeah, really pleased to be inside by the fire for the most part of it. This week has been hard. It's half term next week, and so I think just getting to that end point just made everything more difficult. Although yesterday we had an inset day, we had lots and lots of online courses to do, most of which were just a case of click and play, listen and stitch. So I got quite a bit done yesterday. I've watched a good amount of FlossTube this week just because I've needed it. I've really felt like I've needed it in the background. So I'm just going to give a few shout outs to some of the people that I've watched, because some of them are new to me. I kind of made a bit of a conscious effort to watch a few people that were either new or that I hadn't watched in quite a long time. So I've already mentioned Colette, the highway stitcher. I really enjoy watching her. I watched the Contented Stitcher. I'm going to bring this over here so I'm going to keep looking down. I watched the Contented Stitcher. She's got so many beautiful projects, and all behind her, all framed up, and I know she uses a lot of thrifts or frames, which I really like, seeing what other people find. 911 Stitcher. I watched the Joyfield Stitcher this morning, as I always do on a Saturday morning. Watched Jen Upton, Barbara's daughter, had a new one out for the first time in a couple of weeks, I think, so that I really enjoyed watching that. Emily C, Eclectic Possessions, I watched her update, and then two that were new to me that were mentioned in FlossTubes that I watched. A FlossTuber called Nikki Noodles from Australia. She's excellent. I loved looking at her projects. She's does a lot of samplers, which I really like, but I just love her in front of the camera. She's got a really good way about her. And Raspberry Stitcher as well, I watched for the first time this week. So I've been quite busy. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that last Sunday I had a good day of getting some finishes done. So I've been sort of drip feeding them through the week. So I think I've got 4 FFOs to show you. I've got 2 finishes. I have got a new start, which I said I wasn't going to have, but there is a bit of a, how should we say, a loophole with that one. Well, I think there's a loophole anyway. And so, yeah, I've been doing lots and lots of stitching. So I'm going to start off by showing you my FFOs. The reason I keep looking down is I'm trying this time a new way of organising myself. So I've got everything I'm going to need in a basket down here by the side of me, rather than having it stretched out along the bed, which is just over there. So I'm going to do my FFOs, I'm going to do my finishes. I've had some happy mail, which sort of links into my new start, and then I'm going to do the giveaways. So I've got lots of giveaways. I contacted in my view, our best charters of reproduction charts, our best designers who do PDFs, and asked actually to purchase some charts to give away, and they all gave them to me to give away. So I will be going through all of those, plus I've got some paper copies of charts to give away as well. Right, let's get started then. So finishes. The first thing I finished this week, which as I said, if you follow me on Instagram, if you don't, then do follow me. This is Through the Woods by Mill Hill, and it is one of their perforated paper kits, but I decided not to stitch it on perforated paper. I've had this going for ages. I decided not to stitch it on perforated paper, but I stitched it on this kind of toffee coloured fabric flare. And so I showed the finish of this a couple of weeks ago, and what I decided to do was to make it into a little lined bag. And it was super easy to do. I had a lady who commented that she'd managed to do a few pillows, but she didn't know how to do this. And this, I would say, is easier than doing a pillow. Much easier than doing a pillow. So I will try and find a good tutorial for it, because I haven't really got the kit to be able to do a tutorial myself. So I'll have a look and see if I can find a good tutorial for it. I just kind of did this from doing a drawstring bag. So I'll see if I can find one, and all it is, I can't really undo mine because I've added these embellishments, but all I did was create a big extra bit on the top and then folded it over to make the bit at the top. So I will see if I can find a good tutorial for that to show you how to do it. But it was really super simple. If you can sew a straight line, you can make this bag. And so all I did to finish it off was to put a little loop on the top. I had one of these big thick felt snowflakes and just a little bit of gingham ribbon there, and then it just will hang like that at Christmas time. It'll hang up in my room all the time, but it'll hang out and about at Christmas time. So I was super pleased with that. As I said last time, or when I showed the finish, there should have been a big button there, but I didn't care for the button, so I just left it off. But I have done the beading, which makes it really sparkly. You might be able to hear the wind outside at the moment. As I said, we've had really strong winds, and it is whipping up again for a bit of a storm. So that was my first finish. My second finish, or second FFO, was this little pillow, which was by Hand in Heart, I believe, and it was in the Christmas edition, or the most recent edition, the winter edition of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. So just organising my bells. So all I did was I stitched it, I picked my own colours, I chose 2 different browns for the trees just to give a bit more depth, and then the cardinal is done in a silk. It's just backed with a little bit of polka dot, and then I made my own, I don't know if you can see that, there we go, I made my own trim using Vonna Pfeiffer's tutorial, and then just sewed it on around the outside. So I just used cording, or some thread in colours that matched my front and my back, made my own cording. I think I said again a couple of episodes ago that I had bought some off-brand thread just for making cording, because I don't want to use good DMC just for making cording. And then I just left these little 2 dangly bits at the bottom, mainly because I wasn't sure what else to do with them, but they looked okay. I had intended to leave them at the top, but then by the time I realised I'd sewn my ribbon, my cording on, they were at the bottom, and so that's where they stayed. And so that's 2 of those that I've stitched up now. That one was from the autumn edition, that one was from the winter edition. So there's those two that I finished, and this one I just kind of finished on a bit of a whim, really. Part of my whip go, and I will mention whip go again in the plans because I have mentioned it once and then never mentioned it again. Part of my whip go was to work on my Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. And one of the things that I realised about Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow, my version, which was stitched on 32 count vintage country mocha, was that I didn't like it. I didn't like the fabric. It was too big. It was just going to be like an absolute bedsheet, and it was too big. But I had finished one block. So I chopped the block out, and then I just made a little velvet backed pillow that I stuffed with just some fibre fill, just because it's quite big, and then I put a Lady Dot Creates trim, a chenille trim around the outside. So that was just the way of making something out of nothing, really. Out of something that I had decided to UFO and restart, I decided that I would at least have a little pillow out of it. And then my favourite finish, I think, and certainly the one that seemed to get the most comments and the most love on Instagram, was my finish of Beggars Valentine by Threadwork Primitives. And so if you remember, that was my finish. This is going to be quite a hard one to show, actually. I'll tell you why in a minute. So this is my stitching. It's stitched on 36 count Picture This Plus vellum with the called for colours, which are quite a lot lighter than they look in the picture, and then backed with just some plain coloured cotton, and I've stuffed it with walnut shells. And the reason it's hard to hold up is because it's designed to sit flat. I didn't want to put so many walnut shells in that it was really, really deep, and then the button border looked odd because I knew it would have to lie flat on the table. So, as I said, I think the button border is the thing that attracted most people's attention on Instagram. And it was so easy. It really was so easy. Again, a couple of people asked if I could do a tutorial on it. If I make another one, I will try and remember to do that. But literally, all I did was made the cushion, stuffed it with the walnut shells that I wanted to put in, and then I started at this end, and then I just literally threaded the buttons in. So I put my cotton through the pillow, pushed a button on, put my cotton back through the pillow, pushed another button on, put my cotton back through the pillow, and just like that. And all I did to give it a fringed look was I didn't pull them so tight against the pillow that they had no movement. So you can see, which end is better to show you? That end probably. You can see there's probably up to ½ centimetre's worth of gap in some places between the pillow and the buttons, so that they actually just lie nicely. And again, when it's on the tabletop like that, the buttons just sit as they should, without the pillow being so tall and overstuffed that the buttons don't hang nicely. One thing that I can pass on is that the thread that I used, excuse me, rustle, the thread that I used to stitch the buttons on was just a 12 weight sulky. I just used a neutral coloured 12 weight sulky, just because it's that bit thicker than ordinary sewing thread, and I just thought it would give just a bit more to those buttons, so that they weren't likely to fray and cause the thread to break. And so that's what I did. The buttons themselves, I've got quite a few vintage mother of pearl buttons, but I didn't have enough to do a full border, and nor did I really want to. I like the button border, but I didn't want to use up all my buttons on it. So what I did was I went on to Amazon and I bought 2 packs of a kind of mother of pearl shell buttons, and I think they were sold per either 80 grams or 100 grams. I'll put the link below. And I bought 1 pack where the majority of them were cream, obviously cream on the front, and then sort of paler backs. And then I bought, this is what I've got left, so there was loads. And then I bought 1 pack where the buttons themselves and the backs were darker. I don't know how much difference there is really in those 2. I could have got away with just one pack, but I wasn't sure, so I bought both of them, and then that's what I used. But if you've got a good stack of buttons that you want to use, then you're well away. So those were my FFOs. I've still got a little bit more FFOing to do. I have got a couple of drums to make, and my other Pantini finish to do, which I will show you the stitching for in a minute because I finished that. My other finish, which again generated lots and lots of comments and interest on Instagram, was my finish of this chart. Mary Catherine Harris, or the Zebra Sampler, as it's called. Charted by Ana Hiscock, and I will put the details down below. But one person might not need those details. So this is Mary Catherine Harris, and this is my finish on 32 count Picture This Plus Wren, stitched 2 over 2 with the Call for colours. Let me just see if I can grab a board without turfing everything else up. There we go. That's a bit better. So there is my Zebra Sampler. There is a tiny little bit of over 1 just where she shortens her middle name and where she shortens October. If you were an Ada stitcher, I think you could get away without putting that on. Because it's such a tiny amount, if you wanted to stitch this on Ada, you could definitely get away without putting that little bit of over 1 on. Or you could do it in, instead of doing it as crosses, you could almost do it as like a back stitch. So it might be quite hard to see, but obviously the main colour is the 3799, and then the second colour is this pale in here, which escapes me at the moment. Let's have a look. It is 3866, so sort of a stony colour. And I must admit, when I first looked at it, I wondered how much adding that extra paler colour in would bring, but actually in person it really does make a difference. So I finished that one, and I can't wait to get that framed. I think I'm going to try an online framing company for that and just order a frame, because it's a bit of a funny size. So I'm going to try, and then we'll see how the frame looks, how good it is, and I can let you know. My second finish is in one of these 2 bags, but I'm not sure which one. Is it that one? Yes, it's this one. And this is something that I've been messing about with for ages, to be honest. I shouldn't really have taken this long. But it's Pantini, When I Think of January. A lovely snowman there. And, oops, here is my finish. Now I haven't put the button on yet, because that needs to go on after I've started doing the finish. So there is When I Think of January, and as I said, the button, which is the carrot nose, which she's famous for, will go on there. So this is stitched on 32 count beige, so I got just an ordinary even weave, and when I filmed last week, no, week before, I said I wasn't going to have any new starts in February. Well, I'd filmed on the 30th of January, so I very quickly made a quick start on the February one of these, so that I wouldn't be breaking that rule at that time. Yeah, I might have broken it a little bit this week, but when you see, you'll agree that it was for a very good cause. So there is January. Get a bit of a shadow. There we go. So that was my second finish. And then I've worked on two other things. One of which I suppose you could call a finish, because I have finished, well actually no, I haven't finished it quite. But the part that's come out, I have finished. I'm going to say I've finished, because the bit that I haven't done, I'm leaving for a purpose. So, this is the Dreaming Girl Sal by Ana, and I have changed the colours on mine. Not necessarily completely, but I've changed the hair colour so far. And I'm going to wait and see what the rest of the colours look like as to how I go forward, whether I go back to original colours or whether I carry on changing things up. So this is my finish. I think when I showed you her last week, she was very, very nearly finished. I don't think she was completely finished. No, I'm sure she was very nearly finished. And this is her. She stitched on a piece of 32 count fabric by XDew Design. Now I don't know what the colourway is, I'm afraid. I bought it in a D-stash, and I know it's XDew, but other than that I don't know what it is. I have stitched the face in the called for colours, obviously except for the eyebrows, which I've done to match the hair. The majority of the hair is aged pewter. Just see if I've got that to hand. Yeah, aged pewter by Gentle Art. And then the Quaker motifs in her hair are actually 3799, DMC 3799, as are her eyelashes, I think. So the next part comes out on the 15th, although from doing Ana SALs before with Creative Poppy, they quite often come out the day before. So I shall be checking tomorrow and seeing where we go from there. So that is my Ana. I'd started her actually in the fabric towards the top, so I haven't left myself a massive amount of room. But when I first ironed this fabric, I couldn't be 100% sure whether the crease was just a crease or whether the fabric had actually changed colour slightly along the crease. So I decided to err on the side of caution and make the crease the bottom just in case. And as the colours develop, I will decide what colour to make her shirt. I love it, absolutely love it. I cannot wait to have that one finished. The other thing that I worked on this week was A Gentleman's Daughter by Plum Street Samplers. Now I've got this to show you. I haven't ironed this one. And this is where I have got to. Now the eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed that that isn't the start that I showed you last week. The start that I showed you last week was done on 38 count Wayfarer's Cloak by Legacy Linens, Access Commodities Legacy Linens. And I took it out to stitch on it last week, and there was yoghurt on it. A big lump of dry yoghurt. I have no idea. I have no idea how it got there. I would imagine it involved a small person. I don't think the bearded person was involved, but I think the small person might have been involved somewhere along the line. So I decided to, it hasn't ruined the whole piece of linen because it was a big piece, it was a fat quarter, but it would have probably been in the stitching, and so I decided to just shelve it, I've actually cut that piece of stitching out, and I've kept the piece where the yoghurt is in the middle because I could put a small above and below it. I did wipe the yoghurt off. I'm not that bad. I did wipe the yoghurt off. And then I decided to restart on this, which is 36 count Confederate Grey by Weeks Dye Works. Now I know that this has been renamed since then, and I don't know 100% what the renaming of it is, but just to say that when I purchased it, it was purchased as the name Confederate Grey, and I don't know whether in the UK that name has been changed in all places yet. So there it is. It's potentially slightly darker than I would have liked, but I think it will be okay. And I haven't ironed it, and Old Weeks always looks like a dish rag until you've actually done something with it. I wasn't looking forward to stitching on it actually, having heard so many people say that they didn't really enjoy stitching on the Old Weeks. They liked the Zygot base better, but I had a fat quarter of it, so I thought, well, I'm gonna have to put something on it. So I started this, and I really do like it actually. I really like it because I stitch in hand. It's a really nice soft linen, and the 36 count for me is perfect on it. I've stitched on 30 count Old Weeks before, and I had to put that in a hoop because it was just too loose, too loosey goosey. But this I was really quite pleased with, so I stitched on that as well. And the only other thing that I did this week, just on a bit of a whim, I bought just a small sample of white velvet because I just wanted to see if you could dye it, and you can. The reason I bought a very small piece is because a few weeks before I bought a fat quarter of white velvet, and when it came it was really like cheap thin velvet. It wasn't very nice at all, and it's not what I call that proper old-fashioned velvet, you know, the heavy thick velvet that you would make curtains and cushions out of. And even nowadays online when they're saying, oh, it's cushion velvet or curtain velvet, it's not what I would call that velvet, that really heavy stuff. So I thought, oh, I'm not going to get caught again, so I only ordered a small piece. And whilst it's not quite the heavy cotton or the heavy velvet that I was expecting, it's okay, and it would make a really nice backing for a small. And I might order some more because again, you can dye it, you can use those Dynaflows, and you can get some really nice colours. I just used the violet with a little bit of blue in it, and actually up close you can see the changes of colour a little bit better. So that was just a random whim that I did this week. Okay, I'm going to do some Happy Mail next, after a little chin chin. That is so nice. I could drink a lot of that. Right, so Happy Mail. The first bit of Happy Mail I got came from Alabaster Amanda. She sent me a nice little mini, and she'd messaged me and she'd sent me a picture of this book, which is about Welsh samplers, and she said she had 2 copies of it and would I like a copy. So she sent that one down for me from Scotland, and it's got some beautiful samplers in it. Now if they were only charted, that would be lovely, but look at that one. That one actually reminds me of Hands Across the Sea, the Nellies, which is a Welsh sampler. And that one. So I've started to read it through, and it's so interesting as well as the pictures. So thank you so much, Amanda, for that. Lovely. And then my other Happy Mail. In fact, I had 2 other bits of Happy Mail. I had a lady called Sarah who sent me a whole lovely stack of charts. I'm going to save those for next week to show you, because some of them will be for giveaways in the future. Some of them I would like to stitch first, and then they'll become giveaways. But a lovely lady called Susan messaged me, and she messaged me actually about the zebra sampler, about Mary Catherine Harris, and we swapped conversations a little bit, and I helped her out getting hold of the chart, and as a way of thank you she sent me a chart via Christina at Whilst Iris Snaps, and totally unnecessarily but totally brilliantly she sent me Ada Bilson, and it says, little deeds of kindness, little words of love, make our earth an Eden like the heaven above. So I couldn't not start that, surely. I couldn't not. The message and the random act of kindness that she showed me was just perfect, so I couldn't not start that one. And while we're talking about Whilst Iris Naps, when I was printing mine out, mine did a funny thing. Every other page was fine except for one. So I messaged Christina and said, did she know that this had happened? And it turned out that some Apple users have got a slight problem with one of the pages. Anyway, she's fixed it now. And in her post, the only other chart that seemed to be affected was her freebie, which is called All Is Calm for Christmas. And in her post saying that she'd now corrected this, this chart, she let slip that there is going to be an Easter freebie. So do make sure that you are following Whilst Iris Naps on Instagram so that you find out about this freebie first. I may have seen a little bit of it. It's gorgeous. Right, and so this is where I got to with Ada Bilson. How am I going to put this on the board? Let's do it like this. So this is a piece of 36 count Dead Sea Scrolls by Seraphim Fabrics, and I am stitching in mostly the cool fall colours. Actually, I had more than I thought I did. When Christina first messaged me to say, oh, I've sent you this chart from Susan, I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have to, I think I'm going to change the colours because I don't think I've got many of those. But then when I actually looked, I had loads of them. Not that it's got many anyway, but I did make a couple of substitutions. So this, let's see if I can hold that around there like that. This is where I am. So it's a really cute little small sampler. The Dead Sea Scrolls has got quite a lot of pale mottling on it, which sounds like a weird thing, but it's not really showing up too well. It looks like it's got more green in it than it has. It hasn't. It's a warm, like a parchmenty linen, but it's not got the green. So the colours are as called for, apart from the borders, which I used Week Stoics Oscar, just because the call for was kudzu, and I had it, but I'm not a big fan of kudzu. This one, the pale green there, should have been Cadet, Week Stoics Cadet, and I'm using the Classic Colourworks Poblano Pepper that I got in my Advent. And then this darker colour should have been, I want to say red. Look on the chart, Michelle, that would be easier, wouldn't it? So the darker colour should have been, if I've got the right page, which I haven't, because I had to write them down because I didn't print out properly. I want to say Red Rocks or something. River Rocks. And although I had that one, I wanted to make it a little bit darker, and so I used Weathered Barn, which is a gentle art. So I'm hoping that that will get finished next week. This is what I stitched on while I was doing my marathon online courses yesterday. So there's that. So thank you so much to Susan and to Amanda for those lovely happy mail, Talking of happy mail, should we have a look at some freebie charts? I have got to find where I've put them in this basket. Where have I put them? Ah, here we go. This is one of my favourite blog spots for Freebie Charts. I'm going to put a couple of pictures up to show you these as well, because I've done the colour chart so you'll be able to see kind of like the outline of it, but they're gorgeous, they're absolutely gorgeous. So this is Melissa at Pinker and Pumpkin Blogspot, which I find so hard to say. And I couldn't choose again between two of them. So Dorothy May's Spring House, so that's the thread legend, and I will put a picture of it up here. It's just this gorgeous kind of pink spring house. Georgian house to make a pillow or whatever you want. So there was that, and then this other one that I just loved. This is called You Have My Heart 1869 Croc. So I'll put a picture of it up here, and it's just a sheep in a cup. Now for those of you who've been following me in Flossmas, I did another one of her cup designs, the Santa Claus face one, which I really liked doing. So that is the thread legend. Again, it's stitched in DMC, or it's suggested in DMC. And this is the design. So it's a sheep in a cup with some floral bits around the outside. So I will link the blog spot to those. I'm not sure if I can link the individual posts, but I will certainly link the blog spot. And all you've got to do is just scroll back through the posts to find them if I can't link the individual blog spots. Right, let's get on to the giveaways. Now, I am absolutely dumbfounded by how generous our designers have been to me for this. As I said, I messaged people and said, oh, I want to do this giveaway, could I buy a chart from you and then let you know the winner's email address, and then you send it? And they're like, no, you can have the charts. So I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have got 6 charts that are PDFs that can go anywhere in the world, and I have got 4, I think, which are hard copies of the charts. So these are going to be for UK subscribers only, I'm afraid, just because of the posts. And we'll go from there. So what should we do first? Should we do, let's do the hard copies of the charts first. So these are the ones which will just go within the UK. Now these are from a pack of charts that I was sent by a lovely lady called Alice. And again, she said to me, keep them, give them as giveaways. They're ones that she's either stitched, so they're past the stash, or she'd bought 2 copies of them. Because we've all done that before, haven't we? Oh my goodness me. I just kick myself if I do. I just kick myself. So these are the 4 that I have picked out for you. Now you will have seen these before because I showed them when she sent them. The first one is by Lizzie Kate. I'm just looking to see if it had a... And it says, "Come let us adore him, Christ the Lord." And then there's a small one which says joy. And this one comes with some fabric as well. So if you're in the UK, or if you have a UK address, I don't mind if you don't live in the UK, but you know someone who does and they're going to post it on for you, that's fine. But I'm going to post these ones in the UK. So if that's you and you would like to enter for this one, then just use the word joy somewhere in your comment. I love it when people make up comments with all the words in, but really if you've only got time just to write down the words, then that's fine. The next one is by Stacey Nash, and it is House on Pumpkin Hill Pin Keep. House on Pumpkin Hill Pin Keep. So it's that beautiful white pumpkin with the orange on the blue background. Now, one thing you might not be aware, because I didn't know, but Stacey Nash in her Etsy shop has started doing PDFs. That's dangerous. So if you would like this one, then if you can put the word house in your comments somewhere. This one, Oh Joyous Day, from Blackbird Designs. Sure you've all seen this. This is, there was two versions of this. I've got this in a cardstock copy, and then I noticed this kind of later run of them were in these sort of A5 charts. There's, obviously they still fold out to A4 when you open them. So if you would like this one, then you just need to use the word day, D-A-Y. And this one, very appropriate for the moment, by Heartstring Samplery, Baby It's Cold Outside. If you would like this one, if you can use the word cold. Okay, so cold somewhere in your comment. So I'm going to go back through them, see if I can remember what they are. So for these ones, you need to be in the UK, or for me to be able to send them to a UK address. So the Lizzie Kate is the word joy, and that one comes with fabric. The House on Pumpkin Hill is the word house. Oh Joyous Day by Blackbird Designs is the word day. And then Baby It's Cold Outside by Heartstring Samplery, very appropriately, we're going to go for cold. So from the UK, and you want to win one of those, then please do enter. Please do enter. Someone's got to win them. Right, little sipperoonie. Before we get on to the PDFs. Now I've got some really exciting, I keep looking over there, really exciting PDFs for you. So the first, or one of the first people that I contacted was Christina from Whilst Iris Snaps, and she said to me, you can have a chart, no problem, just have whichever chart you want, or you can let the winner choose. So this is from Whilst Iris Snaps. So if you would like to pick any of the Whilst Iris Snaps charts, if you win, then you just need to use the word iris in your comment. Now the PDF charts are open to anyone, wherever in the world you are, because I can just email them to you. So iris, and you could have your pick of any of the Whilst Iris Snaps charts. How generous is that? So thank you, Christina. The second one that I have got, now I'm going to just see where I threw, I'd meant to keep hold of it and I've thrown it down somewhere. 2 seconds. There it is. The second one that I have got, because I thought it was about time that I dropped Erna a little email to explain why so many people have been contacting her asking for the zebra chart. So I wrote her a message and said, yeah, it was me. And I asked her, could I buy another copy of the chart for this giveaway? And so she said, and again, she sent it to me for free. So if you would like a copy of the zebra chart, if you haven't got your own already, so Mary Catherine Harris, if you'd like a copy of this, then just use the word zebra. Couldn't be anything else really, could it? Zebra. So just use the word zebra in your comment somewhere. Next one, Galliana cross stitch. The lovely Elaine from Galliana cross stitch, she messaged me back straight away and said, any 2 charts you like, any 2 charts you like. So I have picked 2. Now, because these charts will be coming straight from Elaine, I don't have obviously a front sheet to show you for these. So I've printed out the pictures. One's printed out better than the other. So the first one you'll be more than familiar with that I chose, because there's a big sal going on with this one, a big stitch along going on at the moment, and this is the bookcase. So if you would like to stitch this one from Galliana cross stitch, you just need to use the word bookcase, all one word. B-O-O-K-C-A-S-E. Nearly didn't want to spell that then because I was frightened I would get it wrong. Oh, the pressure. Bookcase. The second one that I have chosen, I'm going to put a picture up here because I tried to just print out the front sheet of it, or the picture from her Etsy shop, and it didn't work out very well, but I'll show you what I've got. So this is the stitching shelves. So in the real chart, this is a square and this border carries on all the way around. So you've got an old sewing machine there, you've got an Alt jar, Stitching in My Dreams, one of those concertina sewing boxes, scissors, and a lovely border with little cotton reels and hearts. So if you would like to do this one, I would like you to put the word ought, O-R-T, ought, O-R-T. And I'm going to have to write that one down because I've changed my mind on that one. There we go, ought. So those are the two PDF giveaways from Galliana cross stitch. Now I will try and go through everything at the end, all of the PDFs again at the end. And then I contacted Anita at the Northumberland Sample House, and she sent me 3 charts to give away. Again, I'd asked her if I could purchase one, and she sent me 3. Now one of them is a really, really special one. I will show you that at the end, or at last. The first one is Emma Thompson. Now I've just printed off the front sheet of these ones. So these ones will come from me because she's already sent them to me. The zebra one will also come from me because she's already sent it to me, but she knows that I'm, both parties know that I'm passing them on. So this one is Emma Thompson with that lovely house. Brenda and Laura showed this one on their episode in this week just gone. So if you would like that one, then you just need to use the word Emma, or the name Emma. The second one is this one. No, I don't want to show you that one. I want to show you this one. The second one is this one. This is Mary Ann Roberts. So charted in blues and greys. The wording is the Messiah. And that's the chart there. So if you would like this one, you need to use the name Mary. Let me just check that's what I wrote down. Change that one again because I wrote it down wrong. Use the name Mary. And lastly, the one that she sent me, she hasn't even released yet. This one is coming out on the 20th of February. So by entering this competition, you will be getting a bit ahead of the curve. And this is an exclusive to show. I don't think I've seen sneak peeks of it on her Instagram. I'm not sure I've seen the whole thing anywhere. So this is an exclusive. So this is Jane and James. Interesting to have 2 names on there. 1767. And I will show you, I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see this one. So it's a sort of a sampler with bands of various different lettering. And then at the bottom, I think my printer might be on its way out, it says about Jane and James there. So really, really nice border, lovely colour. So this is yet to be released, so this is an exclusive. I'll show you the picture on the back. That's the original. So you should maybe see a bit more detail in this one. So the name that I want you to use for this one is Jane. So, recap. I have to get it in my own head straight, not just yours. Right. The Whilst Iris Snaps one. Any chart you like from Whilst Iris Snaps. And the keyword there is iris. The Galliana cross stitch bookcase, if you want the bookcase one, or Ort, O-R-T, if you want the sewing shelf one. Zebra, if you want the zebra sampler. And then these three, let's get them right. Emma, for that one, Emma Thompson. Mary, for that one. And Jane, for that one. So I am going to give you a week, I think. No, 2 weeks. Let's make it 2 weeks. So my last programme that's coming out in February. So tomorrow's the 14th. So 2 weeks from then will be the 28th. So in the episode on the 28th of February, I will be announcing the winners. So I always film the day before in the evening. So the competition will be closing. I'll be doing the draw on Saturday the 27th UK time in the morning. So just make sure you've got your entries in by then. As I said, you don't have to come up with a fancy sentence, although it is quite funny, but just pop down the words of the ones that you're interested in. PDFs can go anywhere in the world. The paper charts just in the UK. Please be over 18, please be a subscriber so I can have your information. Please don't use words like giveaway and freebies and things like that, because I want these to go to subscribers, to stitchers, and people who are gonna love them. So I can't thank enough the people who have donated the charts, so Alice for the paper copy ones, and for all of those wonderful UK designers and charters for the ones that are the PDFs. I have got just a little bit of haul, and I've got some plans to share with you. Although me and plans don't always go together, do they? So let's have a look and see what's left in here. I've got a couple of kits to show you. They are not my ones from my Bobbin, although I have had an update on those. They are coming in to the UK from the Netherlands, which is interesting. So they seem to have come from Russia to the Netherlands, and then they're coming into the UK via the Netherlands. So I've had an information to say that they are in the Netherlands, which is interesting because this other kit did the same thing. This one I bought from eBay, from a seller in Russia, and that did the same thing. It came from Russia to the Netherlands, and then from the Netherlands into the UK. And I've liked this kit for ages. It's an RTO kit. It is called Old Window, and it's M454. And it's the cardinal sitting in this old kind of weathered barn window that I really, really like. It's stitched on 14 count Ada, and it's got all the threads there, which are DMC threads. I will be using black, but I will be taking out the Ada, and I will be probably putting in 32 count, I would imagine. We shall see. But I love that. That will be my first piece that's kind of full coverage ish. I know there's a big gap there in the window, but that would be my first piece of kind of full coverage work. So I'm quite interested, quite intrigued to try that one. And then this other little kit I actually picked up from Amazon, although it's a Riverdrift Needleworks kit, and I hadn't seen it. I just hadn't seen it anywhere else. And it's just this lovely lady with her bonnet and her chickens and some trees, and I just thought it was a really, really nice kind of Valentine's spring kit. It comes like that with the threads unsorted, and it comes with 18 count white Ada. Again, I will be swapping that out probably for a darker neutral, I would think. But I just really liked her with her little puffball sleeves and her little rosy red cheeks. That is called Pink House. Pink House. I've said before I really like Riverdrift stuff. If you're looking for PDFs, go on to Creative Poppy, because they have lots of the Riverdrift PDFs on there. And then some charts, as always, and some floss, and some fabric, and a total lack of self-control on my part. So I picked up a couple from eBay. This one, oh, I just loved this one. It's called The Gift Keeps Giving. And I actually, when I find a chart on eBay, I always look and see where else I can buy it and how much it's going for, so I know that I'm not going to overpay. And I couldn't find this one anywhere else. And I think I ended up paying about £5 for it, but I would have paid a lot more. Not a massive amount more, but a lot more. Over £10 I would have paid because of that. That box top there I absolutely adore. And I absolutely adore that red pillow as well. Because I feel that I'm a little bit astray of the rules about a red sampler and some red work. I have got a red sampler on the go, but I'm not really working on it. I'm thinking about restarting it. So it doesn't feel like it's proper. It doesn't feel like it's enough. So there's that one. And that is by Summer House Stitchworks. And I couldn't really find that anywhere else. I'm usually pretty good at finding stuff. So there was that one. I bought Wash Day by Carriage House Samplings as well. I've always loved that one. Always loved that one. And then I bought these two charts from a seller called Jeffrey Smith. And I think he, from what I've heard, I'm going to have to put the name across the bottom of what they normally sell under. But one of those people who usually goes around the fairs, the needlework fairs, and sells charts and things like that. And obviously they've got a lot of overstock at the moment, and so they're selling through eBay. So I will put the seller's name down below as well, so you can look up and favourite them, because they've got some brilliant charts. They really, really nice stuff. So I picked up from him Yonder, which made by Michelle McGraw. She stitched, and I've always really liked that one. And I also picked up this one, a Lone Elm Lane one, called Tis a Melody. And so you can make those three things. So that's a little needle book. I presume the one, look like that, is a pin cushion, and that one's made as a little notions pouch. I haven't looked to see about whether you can get the little tray that it's in or anything. But again, I really liked that one. So they were both new. And then I also bought some Fox and Rabbit from Peakside, just because. This is a 36 count river gum. And it looks quite grey there, but it is actually, that's not too bad. It's actually quite greeny. And they've just got lots and lots of new things from Fox and Rabbit, which I've had before. I've had their hog's bristle before, and that was really nice. And then apologies to anyone who's looking for this, but I bought 3 skeins of it from Peakside Needleworks, and I bought another 5 skeins of it coming with my auto ship from Patchwork Rabbit when that's time. And it's this blackboard. This is Laura's fault, from Brenda and Laura. She was talking about blackboard being a beautiful kind of bluish black, and actually if you put it on my top you can see that it is that nice bluish black, because I have been wanting to stitch my big sampler, a big Quaker sampler, and I'm stalling now because I absolutely adore it and I cannot remember the name of it. How stupid is that? I lusted and lusted after it for ages and I got it, and it's one I've started 3 times on 3 different fabrics with different floss, and I can't remember the name of it. Oh my goodness me. I'm going to have to put a picture of it there, and I'm going to put the name of it along the bottom, because my brain has just gone on a jaunt somewhere else. But I've always thought I wanted to do it in a bluish black, and so that is what I'm going to do it in, on a kind of a mocha coloured linen. Oh, that is going to be so annoying now. So annoying. Plans before I finish. Whip Go. I've not mentioned my Whip Go. I've been really bad at it. Other than doing a little bit of work on Most Noble Pursuit, I have not kept up with my Whip Go. I had planned to do them in the month that they were called, although provided I get them done by the end of the year, I'm not too worried if I don't actually get them done in the month that they were called. So last month I had Most Noble Pursuit and my Eye Stitch band sampler. I got some done on the Most Noble Pursuit, but I didn't touch the band sampler at all. And this month, the two that were called for me were my Plum Street Samplers salt boxes. So I'm doing all the salt boxes on one piece of Picture This Plus Heroic, and my goal was to do one box per month, or one box in the Whip Go. That I'd already started, so I can't count that. So I'm going to start the other one, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do the other spring or start summer. It'll depend on what I've got the most colours for. So it'll either be the turquoise one there, or it will be that one, because yeah, they have to go together, don't they, because of the flag. So next week and the week after I need to get that done. And then my other one, which is on my Whip Go board, I have shown you before. Here's the cover sheet, and it's by Reflet de Soie, Louise de la Plagne. Now I love this. I had really lofty ideas of doing loads of work on this in December, and I never did, because I got into Flossmas and I got into doing lots of smalls and that sort of thing. But this is where I am. I haven't ironed this one, so it's going to show. Sorry, I seem to have spent most of the time today looking at the floor. I'll just show it. There we go. So that is Louise de la Plagne. So I've got 5 days on that. And then my last plan, which I think might wait until March, is the whole red sampler thing. I have this one, which is called Lizzie's Bristol. And I'm quite hankering after starting that. So maybe sometime in March I will start that one. I'm going to try my best not to start too many more things in February and get some more finishes done. But I'm really liking that one. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this episode. I hope you have written down all of the keywords that you need to write down for the things that you want to enter. And as I said, we'll have 2 weeks. So I will draw it on the 27th of February in the morning UK time, and you'll find out if you've won on the 28th. So thank you to everybody who's contributed in some way to this this video. I will see you again next week. Stay classy, Stitchers.